Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Shalom. I am in Graaf Reinet, as you can see in the background. What are we doing here? Well, we're continuing the Mazakhele campaign, specifically the piloting of the campaign, the testing it out of the Mazakhele campaign, a campaign that will hopefully see me travel across this country, dorpi to dorpi, city to city, town to town, talking to those South Africans who are doing things for themselves. That is the whole ethos of Mazakhele. Mazakhele being a Zulu word for build it yourself. With your support, we're going to do a full-on series that will see me travel this country, bringing you stories of South Africans, fellow South Africans who are building this country themselves, not waiting for government, not waiting for the state, not waiting for politicians, but doing it for themselves. So we're here in Graaf Reinet. There's two interesting projects that I want you to see. And yeah, buckle up. You're watching the Mazakhele pilot here on the Big Daddy Liberty Show. Right, Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Shalom. As I mentioned, we are here in Graaf Reinet. It's just on the beginning bits, if you will, of the Karoo here in the Eastern Cape. What are we doing here? Well, as I mentioned, we are shooting and piloting the Mazakhele campaign, what will become the Mazakhele Series here on the Big Daddy Liberty Show. Mazakhele, of course, being a Zulu word for build it yourself or do it yourself. With the absolute dismal state of local government and really government across the country, we're seeing ordinary South Africans take the initiative in their own hands, not waiting for politicians, not waiting for government, but actually saying, you know what, we can do things ourselves. So with that being said, we're out here in Graaf Reinet, as I said, at the Giant Flag, another pilot initiative in this part of the world. I think it was born in 2010 around the World Cup, but I'll get confirmation around that. But it's a very interesting project insofar as it bringing locals here in Graaf Reinet to plant a lot of these sort of drought-resistant plants, which are absolutely fantastic in numerous ways. From, of course, they're being drought resistant in a water scarce region like this one, but also some of them are just fantastic in terms of capturing carbon from the air and the like. So I'm not going to waffle about that. I'll let the host talk to us about that. But this initiative is really fantastic. It brings together all the things that I like to talk about on the show. Number one, the market. The idea that poor folks look to the market for income as opposed to looking to the state. Number one. Number two, it's got that social entrepreneurship element where it brings in poorer residents in the area and gives them an opportunity, an income, and a job really. And of course, it brings in young school kids to teach them about various environmental issues, from the plants themselves to the climate, because there's a big solar power component here. I mean, we're in a part of the world that gets sunshine 365 days in a year. So solar panels are an instrumental tool in teaching people around the responsibilities, you know, that we have to the climate. So, as I said, I'm not going to waffle away. We're going to move straight into me showing you around here. It's a fantastic, fantastic site. And we're going to have some of the people who work here tell us about this initiative and why it's important to the community of Graaf Reinet. You're watching the Big Daddy Liberty Show. Let's get this conversation going. This is the Mazakhele pilot. Welcome to it. If you want to support this initiative and allow me to do the full-on Mazakhele series, which will see me travel across the country, showing you these sort of South Africans who are doing things for themselves, please consider supporting the show. All of that information is in the descriptor of this video. It is your contributions of as little as $2 a month that literally is able to allow me to, get around the country to do this actual campaign. As I said, no more waffling. Let's get straight into it. The BDL Show, Mazakhele, you're watching the BDL Show. Guys, welcome to it. As I said, I'm going to be chatting to the folks who work at this wonderful initiative. I'm talking to the client, the Community Liaison Officer, CLO, of the project. That is, of course, Tobe Boyson. Tobe, welcome to the BDL Show.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
Tobe, you know, I'm traveling around the country talking to ordinary South Africans who are doing things for themselves. This is a new series we're shooting here. It's called Mazakhele, and Mazakhele is a Zulu word for build it yourself or do it yourself. This initiative has the air of people doing it for themselves. Tell me about it. When did it start, and when did you start working here too?
All right. According to my knowledge, is that the whole idea began at 2010 after the World Cup, just to celebrate the South African flag and celebrate the momentum that was going on. People were so proud of all their flags and the fact that this whole thing was happening in South Africa. And what happened is after the World Cup, we just needed to keep the spirit of South Africans. We needed people to celebrate this beautiful flag of ours. And there was an initiative after the World Cup of Cape Flying, which took for, just after the World Cup, it was for 30 days. And it was a beautiful, and it was a very positive initiative because people were flying their flags and being proud of being South African. So what happened is we needed to do more. We needed a lot of people, South Africans, even if people who are not in South Africa, to know about this flag, to know how proud we are of the beautiful flag of the South Africa. So what happened is Guy Lieberman, the founder of the giant flag, he came up with this idea. The idea was to have a flag, a South African flag, which is living. A South African flag where people can come and visit, not only at a specific time or season, but throughout the year. And this will be something that will go on for years to come and for generations to come.
And as I just cut you off for a moment there, the living part is really important because this is basically, and of course we'll take a walk just now, but this is basically a whole bunch of drought-resistant plants that have been planted to copy the South African flag if viewed from the top. And of course, as we say that, we're going to flight images of that. But tell me a bit more about you. Let's park the project for now and tell me a bit about you. So this is in Graaf Reinet. Were you born and bred here in Graaf Reinet?
I'm a Graaf Reinetter.
There you go.
I'm a Graaf Reinetter, proud of it. I was born and bred in Graaf Reinet, and I'm loving Graaf Reinet. I'd like to stay here and not be anywhere else.
With that being said, I mean, we spoke off camera earlier on, about, you'd love to stay here, but obviously there's challenges in having grown up here and staying here. What are some of the challenges that people here in Graaf Reinet are facing?
Oh, currently we have the problem with water, which is so scarce. We have the problem with the power being cut or load shedding. We have a huge problem, which is, I believe, countrywide, of unemployment. So projects like this, once it starts off, I believe it will be able to create more employment. Hence, we wish that a lot of people can actually support this initiative and help us take it forward.
Absolutely. And maybe to that, we're going to take a little walk. I want you to talk to me about each of these plants because, as I said in the intro, these are all drought-resistant plants. I mean, they're almost endemic in an area like this. And some of them have great properties, which we'll probably put up on camera. You don't necessarily have to talk us through those. Let's take a walk. We're going to begin here because this is the one which, when I spoke to Guy about, shout out to Guy Lieberman, by the way, when we spoke about it, this is is it the speckboom?
Yes.
All right. And he was telling me about this one being perhaps one of the more important ones because it has these abilities, for example, to...
Carbon offset, yes. Basically, we're using all the plants to make up or to color the flag itself. Now, what we have here is the speckboom. The speckboom is for the green part of the flag. And then over there we have what we call the golden barrel. That makes up the yellow part of the flag. And then on my left, we have the golden barrel. That is for the red part of the flag. And on my right, this side, this is the agave, which gives us a blue side of the flag. And up on top, we have the black shade and also the black solar panels that make up the black part of the flag. Now, currently, we are actually using the solar panels, the 15 solar panels that we have, that were sponsored by Nelson Mandela University, just to light the shack for the security and give us
the sort of guardhouse.
Yes, the guardhouse for the security. And so far, that is the only reason we have this. But the idea is to light out Graaf Reinet as a whole. Have them depend on the solar panels.
Well, let me quickly say something. We didn't discuss this beforehand, but it's just something that came to me now. You know, this show being about people doing things for themselves, it's very encouraging to see you guys put together the two things that are important, I think, to me and a lot of South Africans. Number one, the environment, saving the environment, local plants, using them to not only, on the one hand, showcase the importance of these local plants, but also, secondly, technology, like green technology, solar panels, which are really the future. And in a part of the world like this, where there's so much sunlight, they make sense, right? Government has recently basically, I want to use the word allowed, but really anyway, allowed South Africans to be able to generate their own electricity to about 100 megawatts. This, for me, is very great. It allows you guys to say, look, it's possible to do this as South Africans. And not only can we power one guardhouse, but we can even power a whole community if we scale it up. Maybe as we conclude our conversation, talk to me about what you would like to see for this project. So you mentioned that this is just a smaller version of it, and that you're growing these plants to eventually fill out a much larger site, right? Talk to me about some of the other organizations that have benefited. For example, you were talking about the Hessian plants. Just talk to me about that very quickly.
All right. What's happening is with the Hessian plants, or the Hessian pots, the Hessian bags. What we've done is we've involved the Horizon project that is run by Umamwana. Now what happens is Umamwana has made the pots, and then in them we've had school kids who come and be involved in having to take off cuts of the 3-year-old spec that is already here. We take those off cuts, and with the assistance of even Sandparks, they've guided us in helping us in planting those pots. And then once they start rooting, what we do is we take them to the giant flag. The idea is to paint the giant flag. This is just a pilot site. This is just to make people be aware that something like this is very much possible. This is at a smaller scale. This is just 1 hectare, of which the giant flag is 66 hectares of what we have here. So the idea or the plan is that we paint the giant flag with this life. And we've already started with the green part on the giant flag.
And power to you guys. You definitely have the support of the show. And as people are watching, guys, get involved. I mean, if you can, support this particular initiative. Because, as I said, it's putting together the two things that I really, really respect, which is people who care for the environment. And number two, people who understand the need for looking at other ways of powering society. This is a very useful project, and as it moves to that bigger site, I'm sure it'll create some jobs in terms of planting, selling some of the plants, which is obviously a way of generating income for the project. As we conclude, talk to me about you. What would you like to see for yourself? I mean, this show is all about people who are doing things for themselves, building themselves. And this project is one which really has been community initiated by you guys. There's no government necessarily here that is giving a hand up. But talk to me about you. What are your dreams as a South African?
As I've mentioned before, this is my home, and I would love to stay here. I would love to be part of the people who actually assist in growing this country, who assist in growing this town, who assist in empowering women and making sure that a lot of people come and be part of this. So for me, my biggest dream is that to have this be a reality, in order for me to be able to say, I was part of this.
Absolutely.
I was part of this. And it's such a great thing to know that I'm still part of it while it's actually progressing into being a reality, of which I believe it will be.
Fantastic.
And at the same time, honestly, currently, we've got two websites of the www.thegiantflag.co.za, where people can adopt part of the plants. And at the same time, we have the second initiative, which is the respect nature of we're using the spec board, the offcuts of the spec bomb. That also, please people, I ask you support it by going to our website, which is www.respect.org. Up there, you will be able to be taken right through.
Fantastic. And we'll, of course, put all of that information up on the screen. Thank you very much to you, my sister. And I'm going to show you one of the trustees of this project. That's Hana, as we're coming to call her, who, again, speaks to the whole nature of this initiative, how it's roped in other organizations, it's roped in the broader community, and created, in some cases, opportunity and income for ordinary residents. That's what the Mazakhele Spirit is all about, people doing things for themselves. I'm in conversation with Hannah Makhoba, or Mam Hannah, as we're calling her. Mam Hannah, welcome to the Big Daddy Liberty Show. This is the Mazakhele special series that we're trying to build and pilot. Mazakhele being a Zulu word, of course, for do it yourself or build it yourself. And that's what we're trying to showcase on the show. You know, we're traveling around the country, meeting ordinary South Africans who are building things for themselves. They're not waiting for politicians. They're not waiting for government. They're basically saying, no, we can take initiative and we can start something. Government can meet us halfway, but Sayqala land, we're starting this thing. You're a trustee here at the project. And for me, I was wondering, when you saw this, what came to your mind? Why did you want to get involved?
When I get involved with this project, the first time I heard about it, I was in council. So I was part of decision-making to approve this initiative. And for me, when I saw what they want to achieve, then I thought I will put everything into it to make it happen. And so after I'm out of council now. I'm an ordinary member of community. And then when I was approached by the board, I grabbed it with both hands.
Absolutely.
Because I see a future in this. Because, as it was already said, it's a living program, project that can change people's life.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason why I get involved in this.
Ma, I must talk to you about this because, when we were talking off camera, you mentioned, that yes, you were in council at some stage, but you've always been someone who is a worker in the community, who does things for the community. You're an activist in that sense, if I can call you that, with all due respect. But, you mentioned that this project also created further opportunities. So, for example, you have another project that you had started with the Hessian bags, which are used here to help grow the plants in their infancy. But talk to me about that project. Like, how did you start that project? And we'll head over there and show our viewers what you're talking about.
When I started that project, as myself, am a single mom. And I thought, what can I do to assist other women, to do something for themselves? As I do have the skill of sewing, I am born and bred in Graaf Reinet. I went to Cape Town. I come back after my mom passed away. My father don't want to go to Cape Town as he had cancer. So I had to do something. So I start New Horizons, Women's Co-op. And then I started from home. And then when I start to get orders, I move to a building that we rent at the moment. And then I start to train community members to do things for themselves, to dignify women. This is the purpose
Absolutely.
of New Horizons, and do things for yourself and not waiting for somebody. Because the mentality is think government must do everything. But we are meeting government halfway by
Absolutely.
doing it for ourselves. And you will see when we go over there how far we come, that what we achieve. And with the Hessian ports, I thought that's our contribution to the giant flag. We sow it, and then we brought it here so that they can plant the spekboom in that Hessian pots. So that's what we are doing at New Horizon.
And maybe as a final question, there's a lot of problems that, bother and plague a community like Graaf Reinet. Tobe mentioned earlier on unemployment being a big one. Talk to me about what you would like to see for this community, where you'd like your project to eventually be. What are your dreams, Ma?
My dreams is I had the opportunity to work in the community and saw the plight of our poor people. And if this part to assist the giant flag, because to do something with your hands is to dignify and make you proud to say, I've done it. So to train women, we've got a lot of schools in the town locally. We can manufacture school uniforms. We've got 15 schools. And also, we've got factories here. We can manufacture workers' wear. So after we train them, they can do something for themselves. Others are privileged. They can buy a machine and work from home. But the main thing, they must be trained to do quality products.
Absolutely.
So that they can generate their own income, because the unemployment rate is very, very high. And also among the young people. You will see if we get over there, we do different things, beadwork, and also telephone wire jewelry, and we also design badges, so where young people can get involved. We also send 2 people now to the tech so that they can be trained how to use a computer, how to do designing, so that they can design the badges of the schools locally.
Mam Hannah, thank you very much for your time. That's the whole ethos, the whole point again of that spirit of Mazakhele, doing things for yourselves. And again, we're going to show you exactly what Mam Hannah is talking about as we move to that side of the world too. These are 2 women who in this part of the world, Graaf Reinet, are doing things for themselves. This is a very beautiful initiative, and it fascinates me, as you said earlier on, that you've built this from one machine to now there being at least over, 15, maybe 20 machines in here. This is absolutely amazing. Talk to me about how my fans and really anybody watching can support you.
Thank you very much. As you can see what we are doing, I'm very, very proud to be part of this initiative. But anyone that want to support us can contact me on my cell number 08 338 1722, or they can drop me an email at new.horizons.women@gmail.com.
Perfect.
And whatever they want to support us in, they can contact me, and then they can tell me what they want to do, because this can change people's lives.
Absolutely.
As it changed my life, my children's life, their future. They are professionals today because of this initiative.
Absolutely.
And others can also do. If you can do something with your hands, there will always be bread on the table.
Fully agreed, and we support that initiative. Guys, you heard it yourselves. Please, 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 if you are in this region, heck, even if you're not, give Mum Hannah a call, email her. Maybe you're someone who's looking for something to be, sewn or knitted as an order. Place an order. Put some bread down, as I like to say, on the show, and support people who are literally doing things for themselves. Well, there you have it. A wonderful project, the Giant Flag, the pilot site out in Graaf Reinet, and doing fantastic things, bringing these plants, the various cacti, the agave plant, which of course they can make alcohol from, and of course, as I said, various cacti and plants, and bridging this with technology that produces electricity, solar panels, for example. These are all things that actually gear people to understanding that you do not need the state, you do not need government. You can produce your own electricity, for example, and not be dependent on Eskom. You can produce these various plants, which you can either sell as they are, or produce various products from them, such as spirits from the agave. All of this teaches people that the market can create opportunity. You don't have to wait for the state or state welfare. To Mum Hannah and her factory, where she's producing these various garments and cultural items, again, she has seen the value of the market as a way of escaping poverty and bringing other residents with her. That is what I want, and that is the Mazakhele spirit. Don't wait for the state, don't wait for government. Get up and build it yourself. Thanks for watching this episode. As always, you can support the Big Daddy Liberty Show. It's very easy to do that. All that information is in the descriptor. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been another episode of the Big Daddy Liberty Show, the pilot of the Mazakhele series.